Hey guys, welcome back. So this is the result, and this is without the ocean displacement and diffuse set to 0.5, and this is with the ocean displacement introduced. And the main goal for this is to add more variation to the fast moving parts. And this is the original render, and this is after the tweak. And you can see we're getting a lot more variation now, and the idea is to show the fast moving parts with different colors and to create that illusion of having something moving underneath, which is coming from the bubbles. And that's pretty much it in terms of the shader. We now have everything. I'm gonna include the foam and then do a render of this, and I'm gonna set the final settings for it now, and I'm gonna use a different camera, which is the same one that Igor used, this one, shot one, and I'm gonna increase the settings to 6x6, and I'm gonna turn on allow motion blur, and also make sure it is set. Sorry, I've changed it already, but I'm gonna make sure it's on the fluid mesh render and foam render. It's set to velocity blur, so we can get deformation, motion blur deformation. And I'm gonna change the render settings 0.05, and I'm gonna increase the limit to 1 for the volume, and I'll also increase it for the diffuse because it's gonna help give more interesting colors here as well. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna change the frame range, and I'm gonna hit render. Now, before we send this for final rendering, I'm gonna add some AVs. I'm gonna turn on direct lighting, indirect lighting, and combined emission, and we'll take a look at what this will provide us in Nuke in a bit. And then I'm gonna use Cryptomat to get masks for all the objects, and I'm gonna create one layer, and it's going to give me a mask based on the material name, and I'm gonna set this to be on a different file. So yeah, I'll leave this here, $F, and this is going to be the masks for the objects, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna hit render, change the camera to shot 1, and I have 2 frames. It's done using the original scene that Igor had, but they're very identical, and we'll provide the scene file so you guys can compare. And I'm gonna make sure to include the foam render and ocean base and the fluid mesh, as well as the whale, which I have here. So this is the whale geometry, and it has a shader applied to it. It's the principal shader. There's nothing crazy there. Principal shader, and it's using the, where is it? Yeah, it's using a diffuse texture. That's it. That's all there is. And I'm gonna hit render, and we'll continue in the next video and take a look at how we can composite this in Nuke. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.